Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Hardcore Metal Detecting Radio Show. I'm Derek Asklar. Mr. Craig Talley's on the line here, and we'll get started for today. I see Robert Walgass is already on chat. Hello, Robert. We got pretty much got to talk about a few things tonight, but it's kind of open lines also. So if you all are on and want to call in with question, comment, opinion, whatever, you can call us in at 352-504-4170, and or you just get on chat right there and talk with the guys. They'll all be on here probably in the next 5 minutes or so, and they can answer any questions you might have too about metal detecting or what have you. But I had an interesting week. It's been kind of stressful, but I put a video up, Craig, about that I call it a hand axe myself. It's the video I put up. I found this thing when I was metal detecting like 2 years ago, and I got it, and I just put it in my find bag. I just thought it kind of looked neat, and brought it home, and I set it in the rock garden there, a little rock place I have, and I think about 6 months ago I put it up on that pole right there that I had in the video, and I got to looking at it the day I posted that thing. I think I called you about it too. I'm sitting there holding this thing and moving around and looking at it, and this thing looks like it was, hand done somehow. I mean, napped or whatever. It has. They said they couldn't see it on the photos. I guess I need to take some better shots of it, close-up shots, because I'm seeing, like markings and the way you can hold this thing. I mean, I could understand it if it was like maybe one or two positions on each hand, that you could use it, but it's like 9 or 10 different ways you can hold this thing where it's comfortable, and it has like a point where it can be used as a punch. It has that rounded part on the bottom. That's what really, it almost has like nap marks on it, but it's a real steep angle like you'd find on an axe or something like that, so that you don't break the tip off like on a scraper. They're real thin and they cut good, but you'd probably break them if you made an axe head like that, or artifact like that. It wouldn't be very usable for heavy work. But I don't know. I was looking at some photos on the Google Photos or whatever. When you I usually put in there stone axes and stuff like that. But it came up with a photo of one. I clicked on it, and it was saying a Paleo Neolithic hand axe. And I went over to the photos, of that, put that search in there, and I'm seeing like 7 or 8 of them that looked not exactly like mine. They were all kind of different shapes and stuff like that, but they pretty much like a all-purpose tool where they could do several things with it. And I don't know. I'm no expert when it comes to artifacts like that. I'm just going by what I'm seeing and what it feels like. And there's spots on this thing where you can work with this thing with 2 hands. And I mean, the video wasn't the best. I mean, I was just kind of doing it on the spur of the moment or whatever. But I think I want to keep this thing for a while longer and take some close-ups of it or something like that. Maybe I didn't get good enough photos of it. I just kind of had it sitting there. But I'm seeing like marks where it looks like it was kind of sharpened, or that rounded part on there really has me, because I was sitting there rolling it even. Like you'd set the blade part down and roll it, and you could, it actually wants to dig in. You want to swing this thing. When you put it in your hand, you want to swing it. You just know it would work, and it sticks like real easy, even though it's not a real aggressive thinness of a blade part of it. It's it's really steep angled like an axe or a maul. The old mauls, splitting mauls or whatever, really wide. Would you call that a shallow edge, Craig, or a deep edge? I don't know.
Either.
Terminology, I'm kind of clueless. I'm totally new at this kind of thing. So, I kind of put it up on some of the Arrowhead and artifact sites just to kind of get an idea. There's a couple of them saying that it was a nap stone, like they nap pieces off for arrowheads or whatever, which is what I thought it originally was too by looking at it. But I'm not seeing any breaks on here. There's that one little spot that looks like it's broken off, but I think it was done on purpose. But the rest of it, there's no, even the backside where it would have broken off of the main boulder or whatever they got it off of. It's all smooth. There's no coarseness. Well, there's coarseness in it, but it has those smooth spots where it's been worked. It's too smooth, too soft to be like the broken part of a stone, I don't think. But I don't know. It is what it is. But I put photos and stuff up on their Facebook pages and stuff like that. If you want to take a look at it. I'm probably going back out this weekend to do a little bit more metal detecting over there. And I'm going gonna think I might have got a spot where I want to start digging. I'm gonna make a probe and everything. I didn't have that with me. Neither did Mark. Mark Hoover and Mike Miller went with me, by the way, and we didn't do too bad. I think I talked about it on the last show, so I won't talk about too much. But we ended up. I think Mike did the best. He found like 24 bullets, ranging everywhere from Seminole Indian round ball to what we think is 1800s, like maybe just after the Civil War, or maybe the Civil War era bullet. A couple of them I got, and the ones I have, it is a hard, like a mineralization. I don't know, on the outside of the bullet, and I forgot to post those up. It's been such a crazy week, but I've never seen a lead ball get that kind of incrustation on it where it just doesn't pop off there. I mean, I'm gonna have to scrub, if I wanted to, I'd have to scrub the stuff off there or scrape it off. And all the three ringers I found, and I found Seminole Indian bullets and stuff like that, and the round ball from Revolutionary War and stuff. I don't know why this stuff would be on these bullets the way it is. And they look Civil War era. They have the white patina, the whole 9 yards, but I had to do a little bit more research on it. So, I got out a few times. I'm going to get out this weekend and do some more hunting. This place is kind of neat. It has so much, I think it has a lot of potential as far as arrowheads and stuff like that. And we are finding bullets. We didn't find, I think Mark Hoover found a penny, just a regular penny that was sitting in the field or into that low-lying area. But no real coins yet or anything, just bullets, so it's kind of untouched. In some areas, it just looks like it, other than just the modern stuff that's been thrown in there, somebody dumped some stuff in there and stuff, but it's kind of untouched in a way. It's just out in the middle of the sticks, too. We traveled about a mile down, if you want to call it a driveway or a road, to even get into the place. But I actually think we got permission to hunt up in another 30 acres onto another man's property. Talked to the owner, friend of mine, Ron, that owns that 10 acres or whatever it is right there. And they're going to let us, I think they said they're going to let us hunt that other part. So Mike Miller was finding, he found a couple Seminole Indian bullets right by that property. We were like right in the low-lying area. So, you never know. We might run into something really cool in there. So, but that's what I've been up to so far. But, Craig, I know we talked about doing, the sight reading and, the settings we use. We're going to do that a little later in the show. But Craig wanted to talk about a new toy he got. So I'm going to kind of hand it over to you, Craig, and tell these guys, because I know a lot of people have been talking about getting these things. So I'll just leave it off to you.
Yeah, my birthday is tomorrow, and I'll be officially an old fart tomorrow. So
happy birthday,
65.
You old bugger.
Well, anyway, I decided I'd get a drone for my birthday, and I've been looking at them for a couple of years, and I've subscribed to I don't know how many channels, and I watched hundreds of videos on all kinds of different drones, and they just came out with a new one, but I was thinking about it, but I started talking to some people, chatting with them, and some of these guys have had, 5 and 6 drones that have these channels.
Right.
And the one guy asked me, what I was going to use it for, and I said, metal detect and relic hunt, and I was going to get one to kind of fly over the property, and maybe kind of enhance my YouTube videos with it.
Right.
And, you can probably see stuff from the air that you can't from, the ground. Maybe, old road beds and different things like that.
Or even the contour.
Around here. Yeah, this area around here is so old, and, there's all kinds of fields and woods and everything else around. So I figured, also, I'm in a fly zone where I can fly this thing. When I was at Alexandria, I couldn't fly a real drone.
Right.
And, this one's called the Spark, and it's smaller than my cell phone. The body of it, it's a little bit higher than it is than a cell phone, but as far as the width and the length, it's smaller. But it's I guess it weighs under a pound. I think it weighs about 0.8 of a pound, and it's mostly the battery that's so heavy, the LiPo battery. But I got a Fly More package that has an extra battery, and it's got rotors. I mean, it's got
props, whatever.
Prop guards. Yeah, prop guards. Got extra props, 4 extra props. It's got a remote control, and you can hook it up to a tablet or an iPhone, and it kind of hooks in at the bottom, and then it has its own Wi-Fi. This is called enhanced Wi-Fi, and this particular drone will go 1.2 miles.
Man, you can fly all around.
Some of the other models will go 4.3. I think is the furthest they'll go, but they're kind of getting restrictions on all this. They don't want you to. There's a couple of simple things that they don't want you to do. They don't want you to fly near airports.
Right.
They don't want you to fly. You can't fly over a stadium or a sporting event.
Yeah.
Fire or rescue or police action. They don't want drones over that.
In other words, use common sense.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And, when I was in Alexandria, I was about 3.5 miles from National Airport, and then there was all these other airports around, so almost the whole of Northern Virginia, except for a few pockets here and there. So basically a no-fly zone for regular drones. So
yeah, Bill says Bill's saying on here now that are they going to charge you for where is it at? Y'all moved on me. Oh, well, they charge you a view tax if you get above the pine trees. And I thought that was kind of funny. Knowing Virginia, yeah, we got a rain tax and everything else, don't you? A view tax.
Well, there's a guy diagonally across the street from us, and I've never met him, but he's been flying a Phantom drone, and it's probably a Pro, 3 Pro or a 4 or something like that, because this guy, he goes probably half. I mean, we see him going by, and he's going down about half a mile, and he seems to fly this thing for at least 20, 25 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
The one I got, you can go 16 minutes. They say 16 minutes, but everybody's saying 10 to 12.
Yeah.
One thing you got to be careful with is that, you want to have enough juice to get back. If you're way out there and you start running out of battery juice, then,
Well, some of them automatically come back, won't they?
Yeah, they does. And you have a return button, too, on the controller.
Yeah. Hey,
But,
I think Brandon's called in, too, Craig. Hang on a second. He may have a question for you. Go ahead, Brandon.
I got a couple of them.
Okay.
First off, happy birthday, you old bastard. I thought you were already older than dirt, so I don't know really what category to put you into, Craig.
Grandpa.
And before I get into the drone topics, I'm really interested in this because I got one this year too. You guys need to talk about GW buttons and gold coins, because Saturday you were talking about Indian artifacts. I had never dug one and went out to the potato farm on Sunday metal detecting and got my first shard or arrow tip and also a scraper.
There you go, brother. It's fun, isn't it?
Crazy.
It's crazy to, when you really start looking.
You were looking on the ground, huh? You were looking on the ground?
I kept my eyes to the ground the whole time. Normally, I do bobbleheading. I'm looking at the birds. I'm looking at the trees until I get a signal in a potato farm. The signals can be 15 minutes apart. So I said, well, let's start really looking at what's on the ground this time. And I could see, and it wasn't a sunny day, so that didn't make it very easy. But
Right.
The point was right next to a target I was digging anyway, so that was pretty easy to find. And then going along, there was a lot of coal on top of the ground that you could see. And, you get the little low tones or whatever. And then this one I went over with the coil just to check it. It didn't give me a tone, and only part of it was sticking out. So I pulled it up and I put it on the ID me page, and it looks like it might have been a botched worked type of a point that they ended up turning into a scraper on both sides. They napped it on both sides, and it's clear as day a scraper. So that was pretty cool. Again, 2 things I never found before. So discuss GW buttons in an upcoming episode, and also maybe some gold coins, and then that's good karma.
That's right. Hey, we'll take all that we can get, brother, because sometimes, the fines are, like you said, 15 minutes apart, 20 minutes apart. And, what kills
It's
me.
like years ago, my dad could just walk along and just pick up arrowheads. He just saw them. And when I was a kid, I would be on my hands and knees crawling on the ground trying to find them, and I couldn't find them. And I finally found one time, but many years later, this guy, when I was metal detecting in Woodbridge, this Texas camp, I saw this guy that looked like Indiana Jones. He had the whole outfit on. He was probably in his 70s, and he had the hat, the vest, the bag,
the 44 Magnum and the wool whip.
I was going to say, yeah, he was whipping them off the ground.
Yeah.
So anyway, I see this guy. I go, oh my God, the guy looks like Indiana Jones, coming in. So he walks up and says, "Hey, what are you looking for arrowheads?" And then he goes, "No, you're probably not looking for arrowheads. I got a metal detector. What are you looking for?" And I said, "I'm looking for Civil War stuff and colonial stuff. It's all over this area." Mm-hmm. So he pointed down the hill and he said, on that third terrace down there was years ago. There was a bunch of chips and stuff found, and I was down here helping the archaeologists. And he said about, every 3 or 4 months I come down here, just to look around to see if I can find anything, especially if it rains or something. And so I started thinking, man, this would be the perfect place because it's right between two creeks, and it's about a mile from, or maybe 3/4 of a mile from the Potomac River. But there's a major creek within probably 100 yards of here.
It's not a bad area.
On the other side, it's probably about 200, maybe 300 yards to the other creek.
Yep.
And both those, I found house sites along both those creeks. It was a really good area as far as colonial stuff. And that George Washington's army marched with the Lafayette and the French army down through this area. And I found two USA entwined buttons there too.
Yeah.
But I decided I'm going to find arrowheads, so I started walking around, and every time I saw something real shiny white or anything, or any color white, I would, I'd either look at it or pick it up.
Right.
If it was, sometimes it'd just be a little tiny piece sticking out of the ground, and it would turn out to be a shard or scraper or a arrowhead.
Yeah.
One time I saw a point sticking up out of the ground. It was out in the clay, and they cut like 4 feet of dirt out, and this thing was down 4 feet down in the ground.
Mm-hmm.
But
I saw one today. Go ahead. Sorry.
But after a while, I didn't even have to look. I'd just be walking along, and my subconscious would see it.
Yeah.
And I started realizing you have to train your eye to see these things.
You're looking for anything out of the ordinary.
Yeah, and once you start finding them, your subconscious kind of just takes over and just kind of says, "Hey, there's one there,"
Jeez.
But I picked up, I don't know how many times I was sitting there talking. About 3 different times I saw a couple of relic hunters walking up. Some of them I knew and some I didn't. I walk up and talk to them, and then happened to look down on the ground. There's an arrowhead right next to the guy's foot. I reach down real quick and grab it. And I go, "Hey, look at this!" And they go, "Oh, you gotta be kidding me!"
Yeah, sight finds.
And they'd be looking all around, and they'd never find one.
Yeah.
I did that 3 or 4 times. Oh, the people were so upset. I remember I found this giant spear point right next to the guy's boot.
See, you have better luck than then. I wasn't really like Brandon. I was looking at everything around me, this and that, because I don't have a meter, and I don't have to worry about that. But now it's like I'm looking, 20 feet ahead of me. Just any glimmer I can catch, or something that just looks out of place. It's really hard right now because we just had what I call our fall about a month ago, where all the oak trees, the water oaks, all lose their leaves. So you have all these pointed leaves, and you have to, they're different colors and stuff like that too. Not reds and stuff, but they stand out, and it drives you nuts when you're looking for arrowheads. But because you're looking for those, just that little shape or whatever, and get it in your head. But Brandon, when you found it, did you see any other little shards, chips everywhere, or was it just those?
No, not really. Just the 2 random pieces that I found. I mean, I investigated plenty of leaf pieces. I investigated plenty of pieces of bird poop that looked just right. And I'll tell you, those don't pan out so well, and neither does the coal. So, again, it was one of those things that I've been on potato farms many times, metal detecting, never really thought about it. I don't read my meter when I'm walking anyway. I go by the tone. So I'm usually, a bird's flying by, or this, there goes another airplane in the sky, and I'm watching it as I metal detect, because I've got really a very consistent swing. I don't need to worry about what I'm doing with my swing. So I'm usually just looking around, something to do, until I hear a tone. And this time I said, you know what, we'll stare at the ground. And after what you guys talking about it on Saturday night, I'm saying, well, worst case scenario, I don't find anything, but let's investigate a little bit of this stuff. And sure enough, one of them, like I said, was maybe a foot from the hole I was about to dig, and I saw it there. So I made a little mark in the dirt so I didn't lose it, and dug the target. And then sure enough, that piece of obsidian, I figured, yep, another piece of coal, but didn't make a tone on the machine when I went over it. So I'm like, okay, well, that's worth picking up anyway. And that's what I did with every black piece of rock that I could see sticking out of the dirt. Right. And finally, one of them paid off,
Yeah, don't overlook either, Brandon. What I've noticed, I've been looking through a lot of these sites and these artifact sites and stuff like that. The stone, you're not just looking for points, you're looking for stones too, that like the rock and pestle, or whatever you want to call it, the grinding.
Oh, the mortar pestle piece.
Or a mortar pit, and then you have, I'm going to call them hammers or tomahawks, stuff like that are shaped differently. They're almost they come to a cone shape. And you'll know those for sure, because they have like a line in this very center where the stick or whatever the handle would go, and they would strap it on with. But, anything out of the ordinary rock-wise that just it looks out of place, or it just looks weird shape, pick it up, man, because I've seen this type of thing and not, I guess I just didn't pay attention to it, or didn't realize what I was looking at. And now I'm rethinking about all the places I went to and dug up and just threw it back in the hole. Not even considering that it could be some kind of an artifact or something, which is this one here. Like I said, the way it's shaped, I need to get some better photos of it, because it's my photos aren't doing it justice.
It's funny with those scrapers, though. They usually, if you hold it in your fingers,
right,
it naturally fits. There's like little
cutouts.
It
does, and that's there's almost like a cutout right where your thumb would go too at that point.
Right. And that's what with this thing too. I mean, it's got the smooth edges, the smooth where your palms would go, your fingers would go. It's either, if you needed grips to swing it that way, it's there. If you didn't, if it we're talking the length of it, where it's been beveled out. I mean, maybe rocks break that way. I've never seen one that doesn't have like a rough spots where it come off the main piece. It's all pretty much smooth, and where you put your palms at on this thing to use it as a draw knife, it's really smooth. If anything else, somebody used it like that, because there's like 9 or 10 different ways that it feels really good in the hand and is usable. So I don't know. Like I said, I'm going to keep it. I think it's a little bit more to it, but I'm no expert at all. But I have fun finding them. Even though it took me 2 years
by looking at the ground too, and I found them before, but yesterday was more prominent, because again I'm looking at the ground. But you get the old clay pipe stems, you get the little glass buttons, the 2-hole and 4-hole glass buttons, the white ones and the blue ones or whatever. So you see those sitting on the surface. They look like they were just set there on top of the ground, but of course the rain probably washed them off when and they're always face up.
Right.
You don't really have to look very hard, but you just come across them. And I pick them up. I pick up shards of pottery. I pick up shards of ceramic, if I see them. It's just one of those things. If I find a little corner of a brick, I even pick that up.
Right. You see that pitch?
You'll find all kinds of pipe stems, and you'll be digging a target, and you'll see them in the dirt as you pull it up. Sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. You see that?
Sometimes you'll even find a bowl, or a broken one. They're kind of rare to find a bowl, but I was digging a Confederate site one time, and I dug a clay bowl in the middle of a bunch of bullets, and it was painted red, and it was ribbed around the bowl part, but the colonial stuff is much more fragile and smaller than the later pipes they made.
Yeah, I did want to say something though for this guys down here in Florida and everything, because we have there's hunt clubs all around. And guys, in case you do not know, stay out of the state forest. Do not pick up arrowheads. Do not. You don't want that headache. They can get pretty nasty down here in some areas, especially Withlacoochee State Forest and Hillsborough State Parks. State parks you stay out of anyways as far as looking for anything. It's with metal detectors, whatever, but they're real particular about the Indian artifacts and arrowheads and stuff. Just, it's not worth the headache. So just keep that in mind. You're not allowed to be picking them up here in the state land as far as I know, but private property and stuff, you're good, for at least for right now. So just keep that in mind. I just don't want to see anybody go out and go out to the park and say, "Oh man, I picked up a couple and I'm going to jail," or whatever, and blame me for it. So you've been warned. Be cautious of where you're doing this, because there's some haters out there that will just come after you. So
that's the disclaimer for the radio show.
Yeah, I mean we talk about real deal stuff, but I mean I'm just give you the heads up. But Brandon, as far as we got to get back on topic because Craig's talking about drones and we got all way off the topic now. But did you had a question about the drones?
I wanted to talk about that too. So Craig, what kind of drone were you looking at getting for your birthday?
Well, I got it today. It's a Spark, DJI Spark.
Oh, okay.
They came out with a Mavic Air just recently that is really tiny, but the Spark is the smallest one they've gotten. There's another reason. There's several reasons in talking to these guys that have them. One of the things is if you have the big ones, it causes people to stare, and they think that you're spying on them and stuff. That you got this big drone. It's real noisy, and it's people don't like them flying over top of them. This thing you can actually do face recognition and hand gestures, and you can also do it on a iPhone or Android phone. And I got the best thing to have is the controller, so I can go I even saw some mods where you can put this for about $9. You can get this thing that will increase the range almost double, and it hooks on the antennas. But it's like flying an airplane. You can even get these goggles that go over your head, and they're kind of pricey, like $450, but it's like 3D goggles, and it's like you're flying in the plane.
Cool.
It's pretty cool. But the when you take off with this thing, it's so quiet you can actually talk and hear yourself next to it. So. And it's so small that it doesn't intimidate people. People
they don't even see it. They can hear something. They think it's a hummingbird go by.
Yeah, this thing will do.
Now, what's the range on the Spark?
With the controller, 1.2 miles. But if you put the
what about vertically?
I'm thinking about. You can't go over 400 feet. This thing will probably
right, but is the drone capable of going over that, or is that it set max too?
I think it could go 1,000 feet. That's what I hear, but they don't want you to do it. It's like forbidden, pretty much.
Yeah, you don't want to get hit a plane or something.
Well, it's just they had to make some rules,
right?
And people were going crazy with these things, and I saw guys taking racing drones, and they were in New York City, and they just pop out on the street and throw this thing up and shoot, make it go up and down these skyscrapers filming. I mean, they were just screaming all around these skyscrapers and stuff.
Yeah, that's kind of
this guy Casey Neistat, he's got 10 million subscribers on YouTube, and he's one of the biggest YouTubers, and YouTube actually promotes him, and he does a whole bunch. He actually did a video 6 months ago or so on the Spark, and he was very impressed with how tiny it was and how great the photography and the filming was on it, for the size.
Yeah.
And, but he has, they have a one called the Mavic Air now that will shoot in 4K, but it's the video files are so gigantic that guys are telling me, you have to almost have an extra computer to keep all this stuff.
Right.
They got them in time machine and stuff when they save them. But I decided, I don't really need 4K.
Nah.
And people said it's not even supported yet. You know.
No.
In about 3 or
Usually
4
it's
years,
720 still.
Everything will probably be 4K, and they'll be working on 8K. They're already starting to do some 8K stuff, but it'll probably be a standard in about 3 or 4 years.
Right.
4K.
Yeah,
because if you look at it, there's not many videos and stuff on YouTube or the internet or anything that are supporting 4K right now. But some of the guys, and I'm not going to really do it because I'm worried about the cinematography of it. It looks really good. I mean, it does a beautiful films and stuff with it.
I was going to say, you're going to be fine even with 720, Craig. You'll be fine even with 720 if you edit it into 720, and it might take up less space anyway, or easier download. I mean, there is a difference if you're doing finite work or, like you said, cinematography. I mean, but we're doing a kind of a different application with this. We're just going out there to see what the contour of the land is, this and that, and if there's any site, anything on the properties that you can't see from the ground, you can see above it. I don't know why you'd even need 4K. I mean, unless you just wanted it. But
also, they got a couple different modes, but the fastest mode is called Sport mode, and this thing will go like 32 miles an hour, and that's pretty quick for a tiny drone.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And they got one that goes, I think 43. One of the Phantoms. Maybe the Mavic also goes around 42, 43 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm.
They have an Inspire, which is like, I think Inspire 2, that's like $6,000 or $8,000. And they got, like this unbelievable camera on it, 20 megapixel, 4K camera on it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got like six props instead of 4. I think it's huge.
I mean, that's kind of.
They're actually using this in Hollywood. And all these people that are doing movies,
right?
You can drive a car down the road, and this thing will pace with the car and move around the car, totally stable.
Yeah.
It's crazy how stable these things are. They don't, if you do it right, they don't jerk.
Right.
It just, locks on with the GPS and everything they've got.
They have good stabilizer in them. Is what it amounts to.
But one of them, you can actually have two people. One guy controlling it and the other guy controlling the camera. So a lot of these Hollywood people are using those now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm starting to watch movies and stuff, and I'm going, oh, they used a drone in this.
Yeah.
No other, before you had to rent a helicopter to do these kind of views.
Right.
So here's I paid $549 for this whole package. I could have gotten the drone by itself for $349.
Right. Well, now you have everything with it.
Control it either with my phone or with the gestures, and I decided, everybody told me to get the controller. It's so much better with the controller.
Yeah.
And you can hook your phone to it and see through the phone and actually record through the phone. They got an app.
Good. Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you next.
Yeah. So it's and it will also. I think there's a thing on there where it'll put together clips and music for you, make a movie for you.
Yep.
So
well, Craig, if you're using the Spark, don't you have the DJI app already on your phone?
I downloaded it yesterday, and I had so much trouble with the passwords and those CAPTCHA things where they have like these.
Yes, I do.
Letters, numbers.
Yeah, you're not a robot and this and that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you had to put in your email, your password, and this CAPTCHA thing, and the CAPTCHA kept. Finally, I found out that the server was having problems because when I went on, they kept saying, "Well, go on." I was doing it on the iPad and my iPhone, and I was having trouble, and I just couldn't I couldn't register to the site. So I finally called DJI, and some Indian guy got on the phone, and he basically blew me off and said that I would get a call back 2 hours later. So 2.5 hours later, I called back to them. Got another Indian guy on the phone, but he knew everything, and he was very patient with me and got everything running good.
That's good. That's
so,
good.
I've been messing with this thing. I was ready to smash the thing. Flew it.
Craig, I'm rubbing off on
So
you, man.
frustrated.
Technology
Oh, my
doesn't work.
God.
Get a bigger hammer and threaten it. It'll start working. That's what I do. Pauline says, you're not really going to throw that. So I'm about ready to.
I'm a lot better with my temper than I was when I was a kid, but I've got a lot more patience now.
My daughter.
My dad used to have the patience of Job, and
Job, yeah.
I'd go, God, it drove me crazy. And then, as I got older, I realized, man, I'm too impatient. I got to get, quit doing this.
Yeah, quit hanging around with me, brother. Sometimes I don't have the patience. My son-in-law and my daughter said, well, they're a roundabout way. It deals with Apple, but they said they want all of us to switch over to the iPhones and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, okay, whatever, And he goes, well, the job he's got or he's going to get primarily Apple products, so he wants us to be the Apple family. I said, oh, we're going to be the Apple dumpling gang then. I said, we'll have to call Craig because he's the only one that knows how to work all this stuff good. So,
it's actually pretty easy. Apple is. They don't even send hardly an instruction manual with this stuff, and
right.
It's fairly intuitive.
Mm-hmm.
I've had 6 iPhones and 5 iPads.
I switch them back and forth between Apple and Alien and or regular PC and Apple so much. I lose my mind after a while, especially when I'm doing different processes because they're kind of the same, but the things are in different places, kind of thing. It drives me crazy,
mm-hmm.
But yeah,
I got this iPad Pro, and that thing is like 12.9 inches. It's huge. It's got like quadraphonic sound on it, and you flip it, and it'll change. The speakers will change orientation.
No, they even have it. They even have. Well, I know on my Android they have and I've never downloaded. I probably need to, but it's a metal detector app. Your phone can actually.
Mm-hmm.
I never even tried it before, but I don't think. But I might try to download it just to see what it does. It probably won't even pick up something very far away at all. But you're out there with your iPhone.
Yeah, you've got about a depth of a half an inch on that one, Derek.
Oh, so Craig can get out there on his hands and knees and rub the phone on the ground. In other words.
That's exactly it. Yeah, you're gonna be over there rubbing the ground. If you got a leaf layer, you better get rid of that quick because that's gonna already be all of the depth.
Yep, that's it.
I want to tell you another weird thing that happened the other day on YouTube. What was it? Yesterday, I was looking through my analytics, and I had the Technics X pointer video that I got over 2,500 views on that I've had up for about 2 years since I first got the Technics, and it's probably my 8th best, most views, eighth on the list.
Right.
So anyway, I'm looking and I don't see it on my feed. And so I go to the top 100 and it's on there, but it's not on the top 10. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? And then I started thinking, the Technics had to change their name. They had to get rid of the Technics.
Oh, I didn't know that. What did they change it to?
Switch to Quest.
Oh.
It was some kind of
I'm so far out of the loop. God.
Well, what happened, I didn't know this, but they stole software from Technetics on doing these software updates into the into the metal detector. Yeah. So there was a big fight over this, a court case, and they lost. The Technics lost, and part of the settlement was they had to change their name and dump the Technics. Yeah. I guess they violated 2 or 3 things, but so that's the only thing. Well, anyway, I decided, I wonder if I changed the name of the video, if that would help. So I changed it to My First Pinpointer.
Right.
And I click on, and this within 2 seconds of doing it and clicking back, it's already back to the number 8 position.
They're
So,
doing
looked
some
this morning,
weird
and all-
stuff.
Yeah, well, it's like, YouTube has gone totally retard in the last year since
Yeah.
that ad apocalypse. And then you had this woman from Iran, I think. She had a whole bunch of videos the other day that they weren't getting the money, and she started saying there was a filter, and so she kept calling and emailing Google, and they wouldn't respond.
Right.
And she was upset because she was demonetized, and she had like cooking and clothing and all kinds of different things. And she did some of the videos in Farsi and some of them in Turkish.
Right.
So she had she was making, fairly good money, and all of a sudden, they demonetized her. Well, she went over there to Google headquarters and, shot 3 or 4 people and then killed herself
What?
the other day.
No way.
Yeah. Yeah, that was
Oh, guys,
You
take
see
a
that?
take a breath, man. Good God.
Yeah, she went after her boyfriend for one of them. That was out in California, wasn't it, Derek? I mean, Craig.
Yeah, it was in Mountain View where the Google headquarters is, and they got 1,800
Yep.
people there. And so
People, man,
we're going
jeez.
postal. They're going postal over YouTube.
Over YouTube videos. Come on, get a grip.
Isn't that
Well,
crazy?
I mean,
It
God.
pissed a lot of people off.
Well, yeah, no, I
They
get it. I get it.
demonetized everybody last year
Yeah.
in March, and then last month, anybody that didn't have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 minutes a year, you don't get any money. So
Yep.
98% of the people that were making money, were dropped basically.
Hmm.
From what I can tell, it's only the people who are making 6 figures and up
Right.
that are making money now.
It's
But,
getting to the point
I
now
think,
where it's
I
just
think Google and Facebook have gotten so greedy. You
Yeah.
saw what happened with them selling all the analytics and stuff to all these apps.
Right.
And they were making money off of it.
Yep.
And now they're not going to do it anymore. Well, I think both those companies need a smackdown big time. They need a shake up.
they've gotten
They
people are
too
getting
big
greedy,
and
too greedy.
Too greedy.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with
But,
making
yeah.
money on what you do, what you know, what you
What the
whatever.
thing is
but not,
all these tech companies, they got to have growth. Every
Yeah.
year they have to have growth.
right.
Well, eventually you run out of people to watch YouTube. I mean, how many people are you going to get? Eventually you reach a breaking point where you don't get any more growth.
But they're not thinking
So
about it the right way,
then-
Craig. With doing
then
all
they
this
try
stuff,
to
they're
incorporate
right.
all kinds of other stuff in there to make even more money.
Right.
And Facebook and Google are the two biggest. They're making more money on ads than they're making 80 to 90% of all the money on ads. Nobody else is making anything. And everybody's moving on to the internet now. From traditional media sites like TV and cable and stuff like that. So they can't monetize. They can't make it. Plus, it's such a big field to compete against. And all these people on YouTube have been doing it for years. They already established an audience.
Right.
And I don't think
Well-
too many people are going to watch CNN when they come on to streaming.
Well, I'm kind of
Um,
I'm kind of simple-minded when it comes to stuff in a way, but I think about it like this: they are alienating their own customer base by doing what they've been doing, as far as taking away monetization, saying you have so many subscribers, you do. They're actually turning people are getting ticked and leaving. I know 5 or 6 guys right now that were all over Facebook all the time. They're off Facebook. They're done with it. YouTube same way.
yeah,
They're
I'm
losing-
seeing it too.
They're losing their base producers, whatever you want to call us, that make the videos. They're not going to have growth. They're ticking people off, so they're going to lose
Well,
growth
this
by
has
doing
cost Zuckerberg $30 or $40 billion.
Yeah, I mean, it was a dumb
Well,
choice, I think, but
I mean, this guy, he doesn't want to go to Congress, and he doesn't want to, go to Britain.
right.
Britain wants to, have him, question him over there too, and he's freaking out about it.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
he needs to come up next. These people are. It's like the guy that runs Google. He's some guy from India. He's very young. He's like 32, 33, I think,
Right.
and he's just. I think he's incompetent. He just.
well, that's what I was going to
seems
say.
not
These
know
guys,
what to do,
Yeah.
and they put this guy in And then Alphabet has all of the main people are on Alphabet, and then Google has YouTube, and like they were trying to get how much money YouTube is making. What is their reach? Oh, well, it's all incorporated in Google, so we don't really know.
Bull crap, they know.
I was telling my friend, I said, they know down to the damn penny what
exactly
they're making off YouTube. Give me a break, they're lying. Those big tech companies record everything. They got every metric. Give me a break.
My daughter works in the industry, and she, they rate and they edit, or whatever you want to call it, video games. The actual ones being made and troubleshooting them and everything else. They know everything about. They keep all these stats. They know what they're making. They have to. It'd be bad business not to know what you're
valuable.
making.
It's valuable information that can make your products better. With this stuff.
And everybody out here
constantly.
what I was just going to say is, we're all making videos, and just in the metal detecting hobby, all the videos, your knowledge is worth something, and to us anyways. I mean, the information and everything. So, we all kind of support each other, at least like and follow and stuff like that. But with these big companies, man, I don't think these CEOs really, they created it or bought it and had it made, whatever. They don't. Really, when you think about it, does he have time to look at all this stuff all the time? He probably has a board of, a board that makes a lot of the decisions. So you're probably right, Craig. He probably just doesn't know. And he's scrambling right now, but, I don't know the whole situation.
I think he knows, but he's kind of putting people in to try to, buffer it so he doesn't.
Yeah, it could be.
He can act like he doesn't know as much, but, Zuckerberg knows everything. I mean, he's a coder. Mm-hmm. The guy codes himself.
I've been noticing it, for a while now with this, because Craig, we're always on, and like a lot of you guys, we're always on Facebook and YouTube and this and that and the other thing, posting stuff up. It's been getting increasingly more BS over the past year. Them changing their formats and stuff not working right, and it doesn't matter. It's just like across the board. I don't
got all these dating sites.
I can see why people get postal about it because they take it really seriously.
I get probably 6 to 10 women every day that want to me to join some and they they act like they got mutual friends and I can spot them now. Now they're starting websites with a man's name,
right?
Introducing this woman, but they come on as a guy. And so what they're doing now is they're going to pages, and because Google figured out what Facebook figured out what they were doing, and we're blocking them. Now they're going to. It's a constant war trying to get this stuff up. But
I know
now I'm getting all these ones from like Russia, girls from Russia, and all around the Mediterranean are doing it now.
Well, the notifications part of it, Craig, that's something new that I just saw in the last day or two, where these, whatever you want to call them, these women, whatever, they want you to like their page or friend request you. But now they're starting to friend request for others like them. And I got like 20.
I'm saying.
Oh, okay, 24 of them today alone.
Would you like to like this page?
Right.
And then I go on and I see this hoochie mama on there.
Yeah.
And I go, oh, I'm not. And then I look at her friends and I go, oh, I know that guy. I've seen him on every one of the other hoochie mama's friend things,
And I know what happens too, because it'll tell you like, oh, 12 of your friends like this page. But, I look at the names and I know these guys, and they are probably doing the same thing that I used to do, where you got a friend request, accept, because, you just don't think about it. Two that I
deleted yesterday, you were on there.
Right. And I'm having to go back through my list and like boot, unfriend, because, back, 2 years ago, if somebody wanted an invite, I just naturally, okay, yeah, you're invited, whatever, check out but I didn't really think about it too much until I think it was Dave Ettinger brought it up. Yeah,
big time now. I mean, it's way over the top now. It started about a year or so ago. It started building up more and more, and then now it's just like every day I get 8 to 10, women that are
at least,
I
don't know, Greg. It's your
sites and stuff.
I've told you before, Craig. It's not everybody. It's just you. You're the leader of the Craig Talley Groupie Fan Club, buddy. You got a following of these groupies, and they like older men. They like older men, and you're an older man now. You just had a birthday today, so Hey, good luck.
They like older people.
No, tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow.
They like older. Really, they like older people's money. They don't really like old people.
Yeah, they like
They
my
just
old.
want my money.
That's why I can't figure out why they keep on messaging me. I ain't got no money. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I don't either.
It's my bubbling personality.
I put all my money into this house, and I'm comfortable, but I'm not making. I'm not somebody that's going to be giving away money. That's for sure.
It's just nuts with the whole thing. It's like it's getting harder. You know what makes my day is you guys that run your own Facebook pages, your own forums, real people, and all these other ones. These big. I don't go to a lot of these great big sites or anything like that. I try to stay off of eBay as much as possible, or Amazon, or unless I really need something type thing. I don't go looking through there like I used to, because you get all these notifications from them. You get slammed. I think I had 125 on my Gmail account, where it separates them on the account. So I'm looking on there as like a 99 plus, and I'm looking down through eBay. It's like, God, man, why are you pounding me? I looked at something 2 years ago, and they say, "Are you still interested?" Well, no. 2 years ago, I'm past that. I've already bought the product if I wanted to, but it's.
Yeah, they're really pressing me because I haven't bought anything from eBay in about 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, it's about the same here.
Again.
I ordered a couple things. That was it.
I think at the end of this month, eBay is dumping PayPal and getting some other company to do the pay service. And then PayPal's coming on with loans and all kinds of other stuff, and I'm like, God,
And it's not everybody. I mean, it's not everybody. I mean, most of the people, I always want to say that 75 to 90% of the people out there, you just like us, regular people are out there, checking out videos and everything else. Then you got the shady crowd, you know what I mean? And it's the big companies or whatever, and then they're pulling all this stuff and scamming people, and not the big companies, but I mean generally that portion of the dark side, we'll call it. So we're all kind of caught up in that racket where you got to be careful.
I like Amazon, all right. That they seem to do, it's a cleaner site, and they got a lot better products, some of them.
Yeah. But, I got a good topic for you on that too. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Craig.
Well, the shipping's a little better and stuff on Amazon, but I got a problem because I have a PO box, because I'm next 2 houses from a restaurant. They won't. The postal people don't deliver on my block. So eBay, I can't get them. For a while, my post office was actually switching the packages over. Now they don't.
Yeah.
So I can't figure. I talked to 5 people one day at eBay trying to figure out a way to keep the PO box so I could keep using it. And
right.
Basically, they said, "Oh, well, just contact each person that you buy from." And I go, "I'm not doing that."
No, that's stupid.
I said, if you don't fix it, I'm just going to buy from Amazon instead of you guys.
And PayPal, with PayPal, guys, I don't have a problem with PayPal. I've had 3 instances in the past year where people have somehow used one of my not credit card, but whatever. I bought something. Somehow they figured out how to charge me. Somebody did out there. I called eBay up or PayPal up. They answered the phone, no problem. I had a customer service, and I actually said, "Hey, look, I didn't make this purchase. Really, no questions asked. Okay, let's put the money back on your account." And I think they have 30 days to contact whoever did it through email or whatever else to find out if it was legitimate, whatever. And if it isn't, if they don't contact them back, which they usually don't, then then it's finalized and your money's back on there. But they usually put it on like within a day or so, usually the same day. I haven't had any problems out of PayPal as far as customer service at all, so I can't really say anything about them. But like,
no, they're very good.
They seem to be very good to me anyway. So never had a problem with them yet as far as them. I know some of you have.
I bet you eBay is dumping them because they don't like the percentage they're having to pay.
Yeah, it's like 3. Well, eBay has a lot of room to talk, because the last time I looked, and I was posting up, like Blissful Metal Detector on there just to put it up there. It was 11% or 12%. It's probably higher than that now on the sellers commission or whatever, but with PayPal, it's 3.2 or something like that for a, and it doesn't
Which
go
is
to the
your
buyer.
average credit card, Derek, at that
Right.
point.
Exactly.
We call eBay Feebay for a reason. I used to be a
Right.
power seller on eBay, and before I got to power seller status, it was actually almost 14% in fees, and it dropped down to, I think it was 7.5. Then you had your PayPal fee on top of that. So what kind of profit margin are you dealing with at that point when everybody's looking for the lowest price? Which is
Right.
why I stopped dealing with eBay entirely.
I use them more for an advertisement kind of thing. It's like, most of the time,
Yeah, keep your
people
name
are
out
gonna,
there.
yeah, well, most of the time the guys see it on there, and I've gotten a lot of phone calls and said, well, I don't want the V5, I want the V6 kind of thing. And I said, and he goes, why don't you put them on there? I said, I really don't care if I sell one on there. I mean, because it's just such a racket. And a lot of people do sell stuff on there, but you have a lot of counterfeit stuff, I'm sure. And, like we were talking about some of the metal detectors and pinpointers and stuff they've cloned or whatever, or counterfeited, and people are getting mixed up in that mess. And I really didn't want a part of that, just personally. But I do put something up there usually just to, hey, maybe draw some people to our site or whatever if they're interested. I try to do it as, I don't know, I'm one of those nice, customer-friendly people. You know what I mean? I don't try to force the issue. You get so many companies that just, you got to buy it. It's the best. You got to have it. I don't do that to people. It's like it's there. Do your research and call me.
Like that.
No, I'm not a salesman.
Kind of upsets people. Yeah.
I try to sell to people the way I'd want to be sold to. As far as, when I buy stuff, and I steer away from situations or advertisements that annoy me. Why would I make one just like that? It's just, I guess, I don't know. It's just the way I do stuff, and Craig does stuff. We'd rather do it like word of mouth more than in your face advertising. It just never really cared for that anyways. But not to change the subject, I did want to tell you guys about this because I think you'd think it was pretty cool in a way. But the other day I was at a little yard sale up the street, and the guy said, "Did you see all the hogs last night, or hear all the hogs?" I said, "No, we have hogs down here, wild hogs." And he goes, "Yeah, look out in the pasture right there." And it was like a 40-foot wide, and as long as the pasture was rototilled. And he says, I counted. He said he counted 35 hogs, and he couldn't count the babies because there was little babies behind it, and they went right through here. And I didn't think much of it because we do have a lot of hogs down here, but not in groups like that. My next door neighbor comes up to me. He goes, "You didn't hear your dogs going off last night?" And I said, "Well, I heard them going off a couple times. I went out there with a gun a couple times because usually our little dog doesn't, bark like that, growl, snarl, and everything. And Loki does. Our bulldog, he'll go out there and want to eat barbed wire to get to something. But they did it like 4 times, and this was like 2:00 in the morning. Couldn't figure out what was going on. The next day, my neighbor came up and asked me if I'd seen the hogs. I said no. He goes, "My whole front yard is ripped up." He goes, I looked through the window, and he says I counted 65 adult hogs. And he goes, I couldn't even count the number of piglets behind them. There's a huge herd or whatever of hogs. They're just ripping up everything out in that back pasture behind me. And I said, I'm going to go walking through that pasture tomorrow, and all the stuff they ripped up, I'm going to start looking for arrowheads because, they just kind of tear. It's like sticking your nose down, and it's like 4 inches down. They go on a line and they just root and eat, whatever grubs or whatever they're after. But yeah, they're pushing them from Bushnell. I told you guys before that I'm losing a lot of my sites that I metal detect on. And in the last year, they've put a whole new interchange right there, as far as the interstate, and widened the road. And they took out 2 gas stations, built a Love's truck stop, several other things. All these hogs were displaced. That's what, as near as anybody around here can figure, because we've never seen packs of them that big. And they're just pushing them west, and that's where I'm 12 miles away from Bushnell, and the river's right here, then the state forest, and they're going towards the state forest, but they're ripping up everything, and it's in their path. They're just rototillers, and like I said, they nailed my neighbor's front yard. Said, "Well, man, we got to have a hog party or something. We'll cook up some, get some hogs." He goes, "Yeah, we can actually get them if they're on our property doing damage." He says, "The problem is, I grabbed my rifle and ran out the front door." And he goes, "I've never felt the ground shake down here. He goes, there was so many hogs when I came out the door with the rifle, they started running, and it was like a stampede towards the back of his property, and the ground rumbled when they ran. He goes, it was the coolest thing to feel. It scared me at first. I said, well, how are you going to get him? He goes, I don't know. He says, I think I'm going to take out the window screen in my garage and open up the window and sit there and have a beer and wait for him to come up into my backyard, and I'm going to get one of them. So I told him, he said, we'll have some boar sausage or something like that. Because there's just too many of them. That pack is they're going to end up starving themselves out because there's huge, I don't know what they call it, herds of them with the Coochie State Park. And some of these things, if you hit them with your car, your car's toast, man. These things are, some of these things are 150 pounds, and like a deer you'll do damage. A hog doesn't move. They actually, I saw one hit a couple of days ago on 476. It's like a 55 mile an hour zone, and it was probably around a 80, 90 pound hog. It was still in one piece on the side of the road. I mean, it was dead, obviously. Somebody hit it, and just you could see the bumper of the car laying off in the ditch, and it just shredded the front end of the car. These things are like hitting a brick wall. But a deer, you do a lot of damage, they bounce off or whatever. But yeah, it's getting kind of dangerous as far as the hogs go. And the deer were kind of displaced during the hurricane because they opened up the dam and it raised the water level up so high. So we've been dodging wild animals like crazy. Matter of fact, we have several predatory birds around. I even had an eagle land in my yard today. Blew my mind, Craig. I was looking out the back window, and this thing landed right on the tree stump right behind our house. I'm like, that is cool. And I didn't realize, they're big birds anyways, but when you're up on them, those things, it seemed like they sit 3 foot high, for God's sake. They're big, tall, majestic looking, obviously, but I'd never had one land in my yard. I thought that was pretty cool. And of course, I didn't have my camera or my cell phone, so I couldn't take a picture. But I wanted to get a picture of the eagle in my yard. But yeah, that's what we've been dealing with, is wild hogs and deer and everything going nuts over here. So I know, Craig, you're probably going to deal with it eventually, too, in your town, if they start building outside of it like they did Alexandria, displacing everything.
Yeah.
Do you have hogs up there, Brandon? Up in New Hampshire, boar?
No, we don't have feral hog. We have a booming population of wild turkey, which about 40 years ago, they were kind of an endangered species. Mm-hmm. But now, because of that booming population of turkey, we have increased bobcats, we have increased eastern coyotes, which I don't think people realize. When you talk to somebody that lives in, say, Bill's neck of the woods, Ohio, or you get out to Kentucky or anything like that, our coyotes are nothing like theirs. Ours are much larger. They're closer to a wolf size.
Yeah,
range.
Ours are too down here.
Bobcats, mountain lions, those are starting to become a lot more prevalent because there's a lot more prey out there. And a lot of that also is because the amount of regulations of pesticides people can use around their houses. I don't know if you guys knew this, but I remember when I was a kid, decon for mice in your house. Mm-hmm. That was a huge a bait killer. They'd bring it back to the nest and kill all the mice, blah, blah, blah. You can't do that anymore because one mouse leaves your house, goes out, gets eaten by a groundhog gets eaten by a coyote, and it depletes population. But up here, now that all that stuff's gone, they're increasing the deer tags, they're increasing the bobcat trapping tags, they're really increasing a lot of that stuff because a lot of the wild animal growth has gotten out of control, where they were trying to help replete it, and now they need to deplete it again.
Yeah, it's getting crazy down here too.
Kill animals, but you have to. It's a conservation thing,
right?
It doesn't help the animals either.
Well, especially down here too. I mean, we got a pack behind our house.
Starving to death. That's what happens. They starve to death if you have too many of them.
Yeah, Rick, my
There's
neighbor.
only so much food.
Yeah, my neighbor Rick was actually spotting for the hogs last night. And he saw, I think he said 9 looked to be full-grown coyotes, and at least 20 pups right behind my house. I mean, it's not even, across the fences was pasture, 350-acre, 400-acre ranch there, and the coyotes the hogs still came through because you have to understand the sows on these hogs can be mean son of a guns, man. If you see a boar down here, don't walk up on it. It'll attack your dang car. I mean, they get to be very territorial, and if you go after one of the babies, Matter of fact, one of Ron, the guy I was hunting arrowheads and metal detecting at his property, he was farther into Croom somewhere, and he saw this piglet, and he was on his four-wheeler, and he picked up the piglet, and all of a sudden Mama come out about 20 yards ahead, and he put that piglet down and got on the four-wheeler and started hauling butt, and that Mama was still coming. He said, I must have gone about at least 3/4 of a mile, and she was still coming. They're not pleasant when their babies get messed with, I'll tell you that much. But as far as the coyotes, we haven't had much problem with them being aggressive at all. But there's one that's as big as a German Shepherd. I mean, this thing is old. Pauline came face to face with them back before he had our fence up, and he just kind of looked at her. She looked at him, and she stopped and froze, and he looked at her and just kind of wandered on his way, and never was aggressive. I mean, I wouldn't want to be that close to him all the time, but it's bobcats, panthers. We got bears down here, so yeah, they're all getting displaced a little bit because they've been building Florida up. Everybody knows that for over the last 20 years has been going crazy, and it's not getting any slower. They're still building and everywhere, and I'm sure it's pretty much the same everywhere in the United States. But I mean, it just seems like our town has grown. The town I knew 20 years ago is long gone. It's not the same here. It's too built up now. But that's why I'm glad I'm like 12 miles outside of town. But a lot of us that have lived down here for a long time, we're kind of like a medium-sized town now, I guess you could say. We're not a small town anymore. But the villages are moving their way down. It's a big area up in Leesburg and stuff. They're slowly working their way down to us. And in another 10 years, I bet you they'll be in Bushnell. They'll be considered the villages too. I mean, it just crazy building, golf courses, housing additions, and all the wildlife. Where's it going to go? And so you have to thin it. We've had them out here, trying to get some of these coyotes because there's such a big population of them. They're going to end up starting to get sick, and like deer populations is the same way. You get too many deer, they start dying off and getting disease. So you almost have to take some of them out in order to, let the rest of the population, be okay. So, they animal rights people and stuff have a fit about it. But what do? Do you want a bunch of diseased animals, or do you want them to live out a decent life? I don't know. Kind of 6 of one, half dozen of the other, I guess. But,
well, Derek, I will tell you that there is an opposite effect to that, too. Where I live in southwestern New Hampshire, near Vermont and Massachusetts.
Right.
Recently, this past year, a good friend of mine passed away. He was 98 years old, and he owned 300-plus acres in Richmond, New Hampshire.
Right.
Well, a lot of what these old-timers and their families have been doing over the years is taking 3/4 of that land and putting it toward conservation society land. So you take that and you put that into effect over a long period of time. We can't be developed, and I don't want it to be developed. I agree 100% with their thought process, except these populations of a lot of these animals. Again, the deer and the rabbit population up here has boomed. The turkey population has boomed. There's too much animal life and too little hunting licenses allowed. It's got to be regulated one way or the other, because now you're going to see deer literally in the city of Keene, which is next to where I live. I live in a town 45 square miles, which is huge for a small town that's got 7,000 people. Well, the city of Keene is 25 square miles with almost 30,000 people, and you're getting these wild animals walking into town because they don't have any boundaries in our small towns. They're going elsewhere to try to find food because there's so much competition.
Yep.
So where's the happy medium between the two,
Right.
I want to say, give the animals their land. They've got to have the rights. I don't want to develop property in my town, but in the same respect, when the wildlife population gets so big, they've got to go somewhere for food.
Well, they got a problem with it in Orlando still, I'm sure. The doggone bears, they're getting displaced. They're going to the easy food dumpsters and garbage cans, and they haven't said anything about it a while ago, but they had footage of them at hotels trying to get into dumpster and everything. We're talking pretty good sized black bears. We're not talking, they're not friendly little buggers. They can be plenty mean. But like you were talking about turkeys, I saw a flock of there had to have been close to 100 toms in one group in this field. I didn't see any hens really, which kind of surprised me, but I thought that they were like, I don't know, buzzards or something like. There's so many of them, and I said, no, it's doggone turkeys. And Pauline goes, man, look at them, and it's just right down the road from me. And some of these things are so damn fat they can't fly. I saw one. We almost hit one about 6 months ago where it was running. It was the funniest doggone thing. Picture this bird flapping its wings like heck, but it's so fat it can't fly, and it's running across the state road. And I almost got it. I almost had turkey dinner. I managed to slow down enough, and he got across, but he couldn't even take flight. That's how much they're eating. So that means there's still food for them, but if they can't get out of the predator's way because they're eating so much, I don't know because the coyotes will nail them and everything else. I haven't seen them back behind my house because of the pack of coyotes that are back there. The turkeys won't land there. But like sandhill cranes, real tall bird, protected down here. I see them everywhere in our county. Our county is rich with wildlife. It just, these things will walk right out in front of you. They don't have any sense at all. And they can fly and everything, but they'll just walk right out in traffic. And of course you don't want to hit something that big anyway. So everybody's stopping and it's kind of hilarious. But if you go to Texas, they hunt sandhill cranes because there's huge like geese, like the Canadian geese. There's populations like that over there. And they actually call them ribeye on the wing over there. They're really good eating, I guess, like that. But down here in Florida, they're protected. I think that
we saw a lot of geese. There was a lot of geese flying over a couple weeks ago, but we haven't seen any lately because it got colder again.
Yeah, it got cold down here this morning. It was like 50.
We're supposed to get another 2 snows next week.
Yeah, it's strange, man.
We're getting
cold.
snow tomorrow, so quit your complaining. We're getting 1 to 3 inches tomorrow afternoon. So
I'll be a smart aleck here now, Brandon. Man, it's going to be like 55 degrees tonight. That's cold. You guys are going to be in
It's 22 here right now, Derek, and we're in April.
Yeah. I mean, I just think it's a plain shame that the ladies can't put on their bikinis and go to the beach tomorrow. I mean, I'm very upset about that.
I'll tell you, Derek, with the women that live in certain parts around here, it's a good thing that they can't put on bikinis.
Well, that's probably true. I tell you, to be honest with you, I've seen a couple at the beach. I'm sorry, between the older guys and the older ladies, as you hit 70, bikinis should not be an option, or Speedos should not be an option for you. No offense, but just saying.
Well, that means tomorrow Craig cannot still wear his man thong.
Yeah, Craig, we don't want to see you in that. No.
I'm going to get off here in a second, but Craig, I wanted to tell you that with your DJI, I fly a DJI Phantom drone myself. I got it for Christmas. I've been getting really used to the controls on it. There's one thing that when you first get that thing, I have the Phantom 3.
Okay. I looked at that one. That was a nice one.
It's great to fly. It's real stable in the wind. Like you said, the auto takeoff, the auto landing. I set mine to 190 feet. So if I go too far out of range where I don't know where the drone even ended up, I can hit the button. It comes back. Derek, you asked about the battery thing.
Yeah.
If it gets below 5% battery, it will come back at 190 feet and drop literally within 5 to 6 feet of where I took off from. So it's very consistent on that. It's great stabilizing in the wind. The gimbal on the camera is very stable. No shakiness at all. Doesn't matter how windy it is outside. You just get a little bit worried that it might take off in a gust. But I will say that when I first hooked it up to my phone, of course, I used a Samsung Galaxy phone. When it starts, the first time you get it to pair to each other, it had like 5 updates because, of course, the thing's been out for 5, 6 years or whatever it was. I had to go through those to be able to get the what's that?
It won't let you fly until you do all the updates.
Oh no, you can override that. Believe me, I did it. But once you get it completely paired with all those updates, that's when you can get your internal GPS or gyro, whatever the hell you want to call it, on the inside of the drone. When you're supposed to spin it around and develop the internal compass, it works so much better. The return to home function works a lot more clear. The hover function works a lot better. It's just, you got to get through those, but you've got to be connected to the home Wi-Fi to be able to do it at the same time.
Yeah.
I've only had it probably 2 months, but I've probably got close to 100 hours on that thing, and I can pretty much maneuver this thing through an obstacle course. It's not a racing drone by any means, but it's pretty quick, and it responds fast at 400 feet in the air, and it'll go, the furthest I've taken it's about a half a mile out over the tops of the woods. I'm looking for cellar holes with it. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'd be great to use this, fly over properties. You can see like maybe old house sites and stuff like that.
Stream
that
beds,
you couldn't
ponds
tell from the ground.
Yeah.
The
contour of the ground.
We got all these mountains around here. It's beautiful, scenery and stuff. And I just, I'm going to be able to, I'm going to take it over probably to that property that I got permission with on the battlefield. I'm sure those guys will let me on it. They'll probably be wanting to play with it.
Well, and you had mentioned too using a smaller drone so people don't get concerned about the sound or the size of the drone. I don't really worry about that. Where I go with this, what I'm really trying to do with this is off an old Class 6 road. There's no houses within miles, so to me, I wasn't worried about the size. But the camera quality's been really good. The DJI app has been very friendly. Like you said, you can add music to it. It does. You can drop frames, add frames. You can make it so it's very user friendly to try to make a video out of it. So the whole DJI experience has been good to me. Again, I'm only a couple months into it, which is why I haven't posted anything on it. But
they're calling DJI the Apple of drones. They bought up Hasselblad or whatever, the Swiss camera company recently for I think $1 billion. They're worth, I think they're worth close to $100 billion now.
God, I can't even imagine that amount of money. Shoot, I need a loan.
They got 7 or 8. They got all these software people, that are coming up with all kinds of avoidance software. The thing will, like the new Mavic Air, it'll be going along and following you, and if you duck behind a tree, it'll just come up to the tree and then go around it.
Yeah,
right.
Cool.
It knows, they got sensors now on the back of this one, but mine has, I think, one's in the front and one's on the bottom, I think. But some of them have them on the top now.
Well, it's small enough too. You could put it in a hard case, put it in your backpack, pack in there, and then if you need
it comes with a little case. It looks like it's smaller than a woman's pocketbook.
Yeah. What I mean is, it's pretty. It's small enough where it's not a bother. You don't have to worry about, like getting it smashed in your bag or whatever. You got a case for it. You can pull that thing out and you can just take it with you in case you need it. It's not like it's a big monster, 100-mile-an-hour flying drone or anything like that. You don't need anything like that for what you guys are doing with it. So
you see these carrying cases for like the Phantoms and the Inspires. Inspire is like this giant suitcase. It's like on wheels.
Oh, so is the Phantom. The Phantom is an entire big plastic backpack, basically.
Yeah. I saw one at Best Buy. This thing, I cannot remember what brand it was, but Craig, this thing was wicked. It looks like something Black Ops would use. This thing was huge, and it had like 6 propellers on it. And
I was at I bought this one at Best Buy up there in Winchester, but it's about 9 miles from my house.
You should have called Kai, and he probably could have got you a discount.
They had this, they had this one called a Typhoon, and it's got like you say about 6. It's not a DJI. It's something. I think it's a Yukon or something like that.
Right.
They have a Breeze and a couple of other ones, but DJI is like they got like 70 or 80% of the market now in drones, and they're just I think they're gonna they're pretty much taking out most of the market now.
Yeah.
They're even making military drones. They got one that's an agricultural drone that drops seeds, and another one that drops fertilizer, I think.
If I can get one to retrieve my targets for me, a big metal detector flying in here.
Have you seen those big farms like out in Iowa? They go for miles and miles.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
It's just one big cornfield. Well, they take these drones over there, and they can, instead of having a whole bunch of people inspect the fields, they can use one drone. If they see some dead plants or something, they know exactly where to go and get the problem fixed before
Yeah, Pauline calls Iowa and Nebraska. It's children of the corn. Every time we drove through there, she's
Yeah.
like, I'm waiting for the little kids to come poking their heads out of the corn, stalks and eyeing everybody. It'd freak her out. She hated corn. Well, of course, not miles of corn like that. But anyways, go ahead, Craig. You reminded me of something funny. At least funny to me. I don't know if it was funny to you guys or not. Things pop in my head. You know how that is.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, God, you could get lost in some of those fields out there when the corn's real high.
Yep. Jeez. But
You
yeah,
have to send a
I'll
drone
tell you
up
another
to
thing
where
that
you
a
are.
buddy.
go ahead, Brandon.
I'll tell you another buddy of mine that owns a roofing company. That's what he's using now to diagnose roofing damage. He's using a DJI-3 Phantom
Yep.
to show people where the water leaks are. I mean, this is something that's going to be used, I think, by realty companies
Yep.
to be able to show.
It is.
When you go online and
Yeah,
look at a house, you want to be able to see the property. You
Right.
can do this very easily with a drone in a 2-minute video.
Exactly. I mean,
My
it's,
neighbor back over in Alexandria is one of the biggest guys in Alexandria. He's been realtor for 40 years, I guess, and he was saying that they get $400 to $600 for a flyover on a property, and
jeez.
the people that are looking for houses can come in the office and look at the property
Footage.
from the air,
Right.
and they can kind of like say, "Oh, I don't like that place,"
Mhm.
So they can kind of narrow it down without having to actually physically go to that place. So
Yeah.
it helps a lot.
There's a lot of uses for
I'll
I'll
this.
tell you the funniest thing I've used my drone for so far is to check out whether there was a bunch of crap in my gutters.
Yeah. Makes sense. It'd be better than climbing up there.
I pointed
Okay.
that camera straight down without the strong ladder going up there 25 feet, and I put it right over the top of the gutter, put the camera straight down, went vertical to the house, and I could tell you how many leaves were in my gutter.
That's right. I'm going to make a little shovel for you so you can lower the drone down into the gutter, like with the little shovel, and it will scoop them out for you too. That's what I'm going to invent that.
There was a guy on Facebook the other day that had one following his car,
Mhm.
and so when he looked at the video, he noticed that one of his taillights was out, and he didn't even know it. And he was like, "Oh my God, I would have gotten a ticket." If I
Yeah.
didn't know it, I would have driven to work and would have gotten a ticket probably for a couple $100 or something, because I had a taillight out.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty cool.
There's so many uses
Yeah,
for
it's,
them. I mean, it really, I mean, the sky's the limit. Good one. As far as what you can use it for.
Nice fun.
Yeah, nice pun. Hey, it's late. I've been working hard today. I told Pauline, I said, it's great. I can, we do the shows, and I have, it's like takes my mind off of all the other kind of stuff going on in the world. You know what I mean? It's kind of nice. So it's my happy place. So, come up with the puns. But
Yeah.
I have this drone here, and I don't know. I think it's just a cheap one. It's not real responsive or whatever. It does what it wants to do sometimes. I've had it up in the air about, I don't know, 90 feet or something like that. But all of a sudden it'll start cutting to the left or cutting to the right. I've paired them. I've done everything. I think it's just because it's a cheaper drone, probably like $100 drone or something like that. But I think I'm going to get one too. I'm going to get one similar to that Spark or Sprite. What is yours, Craig? What kind of Spark? Yeah, I'm thinking about getting one. Yeah. I think I'd enjoy it too. I mean, you don't want to fight with a product, you know what I mean? Too much. You want to just be able to, for the most part, fly the stupid thing, But these cheaper
this
ones,
thing's come down like $150 from what it was. So you can almost buy the thing with the controller and the whole package for what it used to cost.
right? Well, that's what I'm thinking.
But,
I'm just getting the whole package, and it's not. It's like drones are like metal detectors, man. There is so many different kinds out there. It's really, word of mouth. Like when you ask some people about it and they told you what they're using and everything, doing your research. I mean, it's almost like you were researching metal detectors because there's so many of them out there. You don't really know sometimes what you're getting. You can't go by the advertisement.
Has 30 cameras all around it, and it's tracking its whole. It's
Path,
tracking
yep.
everything at the same time.
Wow.
So it can, and it updates every second.
Jeez.
Or every half a second or something, it updates. So they were showing them people were running through the woods, running, down these winding trails, and the thing was going around trees, and, it was avoiding, it can avoid very fast because it's got all these cameras on it.
Right.
Think. But the software is just getting better and better and better on all these things too.
Yeah, I know one of my friends, her husband is into the RC cars, the racing cars. Those things have even gotten crazy good. I mean, I don't know how fast they go now, but he's involved in like competitions with these things, and he's talking about getting into the drone. He's really good. I mean, if he doesn't get like at least third place, it's something wrong. I mean, he broke down or the car broke or whatever, but he's talking about getting into the drone, the racing drones, where they actually have a courses set up. And you got to have some coordination for that. I don't even know how they keep track of them. I mean, they're flying so fast, but these guys are really good. Of course,
I saw one video where they were in an indoor track and field stadium, which is indoors, and they were flying around the track and having these little races.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But it seemed like it wasn't much of a race because whatever drone was the best, it just moved away from all the rest of them.
Right.
They're not all the same.
A lot of skill.
The other thing I might get down the road is that visor. They got this like 3D visor that goes over your head. And you can actually, I guess, tilt and stuff to move, the drone.
Yeah, technically, Craig, you can look at that.
It's like a 3D type effect through the camera. Yeah, it's like you're in the drone flying it.
Put that on, Craig, and then you can metal detect at the same time and get live digs and everything right there with your mask on, because you can fly down and see where you're at and control it and still metal detect at the same time.
I want one of those claws, and then what you do is you fly kind of high and you see some guy, getting, digging, and all of a sudden you see like a silver coin or something. You go down and grab it.
Grab it, go.
Claw. Swoop away with it.
I'll tell you, I couldn't imagine trying to use a drone with an eyes-only setup. It's hard enough to figure out how to drive a drone to begin with.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. That was not an easy learning curve. You're operating on 3 different axes. You're going vertical, horizontal, left, right. You've got the camera actions all at the same time.
And you're doing...
It's not an easy thing to get used to.
Yeah, you're doing like a 2-dimensional thing, too, because you can't tell the depth thing.
I'm going to be careful at first so I don't crash this thing or get it up in a tree or something.
Did you ever get your...
Greg,
Oh, go ahead.
Does your Spark have the beginner program on it where it only goes like 90 feet in every direction? That way you can't lose it?
Well, yeah, if you use just a smartphone or the gestures, it only goes, I think, 90 feet, 85, 90 feet, something like that. Mm-hmm. But if I put the controller on, it's supposed to go 1.2 miles, and then they have like a adapter. You could probably get it for your Phantom, and it goes over the antennas. It forms like a shield in front. And some of these guys are like normally you get about maybe 4,000 or 5,000 feet away before the thing starts, losing the connection. These guys are getting close to 10,000 feet.
Jesus.
So,
crazy.
They were
all the DJIs have that booster.
Yeah, you guys are going to make me want one now.
Amazon, you can also get there's all kinds of accessories too. There's like covers for the so you don't get the glare from the your phone or the tablet. A lot of guys are using like a iPad Mini 4, so they have a bigger view of the thing. I have an iPad Pro and it won't fit on there. It's too big. But
what are you doing with your other one,
a
Craig?
Regular iPad might fit. Actually, I gave it to Mike so he can watch videos and stuff.
Oh no, I meant the.
I don't use it.
No, the other.
The hover
drone. Yeah.
That thing broke.
Oh, you never got it fixed?
No, they disappeared. Apple was selling them, and now they don't even have them in the stores. So I don't know what the heck happened, but yeah, I'm gonna give it to my brother. He's he was a rocket scientist. He can probably fix it.
Yeah,
But
quite literally a rocket
had
scientist
crash.
too. Quite literally.
Well, I was flying in my yard, and I flew it about 10 times. It was really good,
Yeah.
even in pretty high winds.
Mhm.
And one day I was like 65 feet up, and all of a sudden it said it was the battery was down, so it started landing on its own.
Mhm.
And it came over the roof of my shed, which has got a real sharp peak in it, and it tried to land sideways on the one of the sides of the roof, and it slid off on the ground and broke it bent one of the rotors.
Oh,
So
geez.
the rest of the rotors work, but it just doesn't.
Doesn't
Without
rack right.
that fourth rotor going, it just doesn't work right.
Yeah.
So
I think Brandon just got battery went dead, or he had to hang up. But Brandon, thanks for calling in, brother.
yeah,
That was it's becoming I can see where it's going to become a even bigger hobby. There's so many uses for it, man. I think of stuff around here I could use it for. I just need to get one. I've been talking about it. Well, as long as you've had that one from Apple, that's been over a year anyways. I've been thinking about getting one. Just I don't have time to do anything anymore. I have to make time, with all the other drama going on in the in our world over here. So just pretty much hadn't been out metal detecting much, just trying to get everything else done. It's like, I'm taking off Saturdays. Saturdays is my metal detecting day or adventure day. I'm going to go ahead and do it. And told Pauline, I said, I got to cut back on my schedule because, I'm used to metal detecting at least 2, 3, 4 times a week. And I haven't done that in like 4 months now or more. It's been kind of chaotic. And, it's the winter time's the best time to hunt down here. And that's what really sucked for me is this, like, too many other things. Life catches up and you don't have time. You got to get everything done. So, it is what it is. But I'm going to try to start getting out even more. But yeah, shoot, Craig, we didn't even talk about sights or settings tonight, but I guess we can pick that up on Saturday. We kind of went way. We always have a good show. I just realized it's like almost 9. Oh, it's after 9:30 right now. So yeah, it's a good show. Last week was 2.5 hours. Yeah. I'm sorry about that, guys. I didn't mean for it to go on that long, but I think everybody had fun. But yeah, it's
not as bad as 10:30 last week.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I was like, oh my god. We didn't even know it either. We were talking to was it Ringfinder? He goes, yeah, it's 10. Yeah, Denny. It was 10:30. What? Yeah.
It was such a good conversation.
Oh yeah.
Time goes by fast.
Yeah, we're amongst friends here. We get. It's kind of nice. Guys can call in or whatever. And if you're new to the show, don't be shy. You can call in anytime. Anytime we're having a show, just if you have a question or whatever, call in. I was looking on there. We got almost. I think we have close to 15,000 followers now. So it was incredible. It's jumping. I think we're up to, I don't know. I want to say close to 30. It's 20-some thousand views or something like that. It's doing good. People are enjoying it. I haven't had any bad comments, so I guess we're doing a good job. But we have fun doing this, anyways, Craig. So it doesn't really matter. But it's nice to get together with friends. It's kind of what it is, just round table discussion or whatever, or I don't know. But it's just me and you, but a rectangle table.
Yeah.
But at any rate, no, probably wrap it up for tonight. Like I said, I'm going to go out hunting on Saturday morning and everything. So I think it's going to be primarily an arrowhead hunting. I'm going to take the metal detector with me too and kind of do an area and kind of probe around. I figured out how to make one of these probes, pretty easy deal. I got shovel handles that are broken. But what these guys are doing is drilling a hole and cutting it off square at the bottom where the shovel part come off, and they're drilling a hole in the center of the handle right there and putting CB antennas in there, like about a foot long, the thicker part of the antennas. And that's what they're probing with. At least that's what I've seen in the videos. And I figure if I start seeing shards or something, I'm going to start, probing the ground. It's kind of, you got to be methodical, I guess. Because, you think about the size of an arrowhead and you're just listening for the tap, almost like a glass bottle or something, the sound or the feel of that. But I think I'm going to make one of those things. And at least when I take a break from metal detecting, I will sit there and probe the ground, see if I can find a spot. And I talked to the landowner today, this morning, actually. He was at the post and told him, so I'm going to pick like a 5 foot area, 5 foot by 5 foot area, and I'll mark it off so he can see it. I'm gonna put the little orange flags by it so nobody falls into it. But I said if I dig down there and I find something, I might want to continue on with the hole and kind of like work my way with it. And he said he didn't care because it's all over, pretty much all overgrown anyways. I have a video actually of Mike and Mark with me, and we're metal detecting and stuff. I haven't had time to edit it up and get it put together yet. And I might leave it long, Craig, because I did some live digs too, but we found good stuff, and they had a ball, I had a ball. It's nice hanging out, because I get used to having the time going visiting Mike or whoever, and I haven't had that in a while, so it's nice to get together in Metal Tech and grab some lunch at River Rats. Mike laughed at that. I said, yeah, they even got a rat burger, but it's not real rat, it's beef, but it's right on the river right there. He sat right there, watched the river, and talk and shop again about metal detecting and stuff. But I think they had a good time. Everybody found some stuff. I think that's the hardest part. You just don't know until you get in there and put your coil down whether you're going to find something. It has all the right signs. So
it's just a different type of hunting because you're kind of hunting blind.
Yeah. But the sight reading part of it, that's where I think it's helping me a little bit because I'm kind of, well, it was like any of us that do a lot of metal detecting relic hunting. You're looking at the site, you're looking for, where people would have stayed at, where they would have gathered.
The only trouble is that site might have changed over thousands of years too.
Right. Well, most of Florida, this part of Florida, the water was probably a lot farther up. Of course, where we're hunting at, where we found a lot of those bullets was right at the it probably was a lake, big enough to be considered a lake before we dried up down here in Florida over the 1,000 years or whatever. But the embankment is on the west side of the water where the water was. And that's where they were telling me on the artifact sites that's the best place to look is on the west side of the water. And that's right where we're at. And it actually inclines about 6 foot, I think, 6 to 10 foot. You have to walk up, angles up to where the shore was. So I would think, if I was sitting there, I had to put a camp somewhere, it'd be right there by the water, as long as it, and I found out from the landowner.
You might look along the bank and see one.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I can go right along that bank right there and kind of rake the leaves out of the way and kind of probe around, see what I can find. But they said during Irma, they opened up the dams on the Little Withlacoochee and Little Withlacoochee River, and it caused the water to rise big time. And he said the water still didn't crest over that point, at the top of that. So, it was good. I mean, at least I know that's about where the shoreline was anyways. So, but I think it's time to get off here. The wife just came in the door.
Uh-oh.
Yep. She's ready for dinner, I can tell. She's shaking her head. But guys, probably wrap it up for tonight, Craig, and we'll do this again Saturday night at 8 p.m. And we'll talk a lot more about sites and the site reading settings, especially because I've actually come up with some that I'm not going to get into a great detail, but they work very well in situations where there's not so much activity. As far as where you have your discriminations and stuff, it may help you out a lot, Craig, too. The theory on this, so we'll talk about it on Saturday, and I guess we're going to try to. Well, you guys may be under snow. Who knows the way this weather's running? But I'm going to get out anyway. So
well, today it was like close to 50, but
right.
Like last night we had 50-mile-an-hour winds, and today it was 30, 25 to 25 mile an hour all day long with 40 mile an hour gusts. So
right.
I went outside, I had a jacket on and everything, went up to the post office, and I got cold today.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, I'm hoping, this is just crazy. I mean, about a month ago we had 2 80-degree days in a row.
Right.
And then it's just we had a couple of nice days early in the week, and then I was doing yard work with just a regular shirt on. And today, I wanted to go out and do some yard work. I went out this morning. I was like, oh, my God.
Yeah, it's like dropping 30 degrees here at night. So, yeah, it's weird down here, too.
The wind chill just really brings it down,
Yep. But anyways, yeah, we'll probably wrap it up for tonight, Craig. And I'm probably just going to wrap it all the way up because I got to get her dinner ready for her. She's been out doing her little job there and everything. So I got to make dinner.
All right.
I'm a good cook. So, anyways, guys, thanks for
Better
listening.
be.
Oh yeah, I'm a damn good cook. But guys, thanks for listening. Be sure to share and like the show. Tell a friend about it and follow us. And we're on every Thursday night and Saturday night at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Well, pretty much open format. So we look forward to seeing you guys on chat and stuff. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you next time. Get out there, keep digging, and God bless.